Hey there, everybody. Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with a look at these Lowa Zephyr MK2 Gore-Tex boots after significant use. You can go back to my initial first look and impressions video. And well, after that, here we are after 538 days of continuous wearing and use and beating these things up. And it's time to change these from daily wear to, I guess what I'm going to say, their construction phase of life, which for me is like at this point, honestly, painting, automotive kind of activities where I'm going to have grease and grime, cutting the lawn, weed whacking, all the things where, I don't really want to trash my daily boots, but I want good boots that will do what I need them to do, and these will absolutely do it. Now, I'm showing you these today after such very significant use, such as, first off, my daily wear. Now, I have kind of a construction-based job. I mean, I have office work, but I also have construction activities where I wear boots on the job site all day, every day, and these are on my feet from morning until night, until I finally take off my boots at the end of a very long day in many cases. So that's the first thing, is just literally the wear and tear of everyday use. Next, well, I built an entire addition on my house, renovated my entire first floor, renovated almost my entire second floor, and I can tell you that these were on my feet very close to the entire time. Not the entire time, but pretty darn close to the entire time. Everything from ripping up floors, tearing out carpet, stomping down the dumpster, everything from moving sheetrock and climbing up ladders and all the good stuff that comes with the need to wear boots in a real heavy-duty and rugged environment, and these absolutely paid off for me. And then next, climbing mountains, going through the terrain out in the outdoors, my outdoor activities, all the great things that just need good quality boots. These Lowa Zephyr MK2s have been nothing short of fantastic. And so I thought it would be interesting to kind of look at the wear and tear, what held up very well about these, and what kind of fell apart. Now, there's not a lot that fell apart, and in fact, I would go as far as to say, if you were to really clean these things up and really do a nice job, it would be hard to say how much these really got used, with a few exceptions. I would expect that boots with this kind of use, at least in some of these high stress areas, would start to pull back and peel, because these are glued and there is no sign whatsoever that anything is loosening or peeling away. And even more so, typically the toe caps struggle. I have other boots that really have a hard time with their toe caps, and these are locked in and solid. No problem, nothing pulling, no corners. That's the case on both boots. So both of these did equally well. Maybe if you wanted to get nitpicky, maybe just the tiniest bit on this one here, but I mean, that is like negligible in my opinion. Next, if you look at the overall abrasion resistance, it's actually kind of remarkable. You would think that my pants and cuffs and just scritching around and moving about would start to pull on the the actual like suede here and kind of toughed things out. I mean, in a couple of spots, maybe, just maybe the littlest bit, but I mean, again, negligible overall. So the actual like leather and that suede holding up extremely well. Everything from all the little trim details, all the stitching, all the little tags, everything perfectly in place. As we rotate the boots around, you'll see that's the case on the inside and on the outside. Really the only thing about these, and they don't really look stained, but what I can tell you is over where these were from when they were brand new and just had kind of like a brighter, I'd call that like a foliage or a wolf gray, more like a foliage color. They were a little brighter. Now they're real kind of dirty and dingy looking. But again, it's not crazy noticeable. It's just I know what these looked like in the first place. So from that perspective, everything holding up crazy well. And even you can see how these laces are laced through webbing. You would think that there would be a potential for that webbing to rip or tear. Nothing whatsoever. Not even looking like it's worn down in the least. And that's a high stress point in some of these areas. I mean, maybe a couple of spots where I've bumped into things and rubbed against things, but nothing real significant at all. The hardware on these boots has been magnificent. The lace locks, rock solid. I mean, just perfect execution. They work every time. They're just as firm and steady and just brutally tough as they have been since the very first day. The eyes on these lace hooks, perfect. You can see they're not damaged. They're barely scratched. I mean, they're definitely beat up on a bit, and the paint's missing maybe a little bit, but they still look fantastic, and they function absolutely perfectly. So no worries in terms of the hardware. And as we turn the corner towards the inside of the boots, a place where I would think you would definitely see wear on the tongue, but more specifically right inside here, that is a very high stress and wear spot on many boots. And I've worn through this corner on pair after pair after pair. This literally looks perfect. It's like they were the very first day. The inside of the Gore-Tex liner, it probably stinks like hell in there, but man, does it look good. So all in all, extremely rugged and robust. And I know this is kind of stupid, but how many times have you taken off a pair of boots, or any other apparel for that matter, and the label is worn completely down and you can't even read it? In this case, it's literally still perfect. The words are crisp. I don't even know if the ink has even as much as faded. It certainly hasn't rubbed off. Even their tags are rugged. Looking all the way down to the inside, everything's still glued, nice and tight. That Gore-Tex liner all the way down, fitting where it's supposed to, no problem. And then the insole, it's got definitely a lot of wear, but it's held up well. And it still has some form. You know, I could probably use some new inserts if I really wanted to spruce these up a bit and just get a little more cushion. But this is more than fine. They've held up just fine. And so the only places where I'm starting to see some wear, I actually, and I don't think that it was the boot's fault that this is missing. I'm pretty sure that my dog chewed on this. Not a lot, but enough that the end got frayed. So that's not a big deal. And again, of course, you could melt that down and it would be perfect, but I never had a problem with it. And on this side, they got beat up a little bit, but again, not a big deal. Melt down these ends, and the laces even are good to go. I mean, of course, the fact that the laces are easy to change out. I do have a couple of spots with just a little bit of fray on there, but again, nothing worth noting. Not a big deal at all. The rubber on the bottom of the boots, I have completely worn through all of the tread. Everything had, these lugs with grip. And you can see at this point, I have literally worn completely through all of the texture and pattern. In the rear, I literally wore directly straight through the entire sole, the whole thing. I walked my way right through it. And that's the case on both of these. You can see that this is pretty much done in terms of its structural ability in the back there. It's starting to peel apart, and I'm not saying this is going to pull apart entirely, but it is definitely at this point starting to struggle. And what are you going to do? I mean, I put the miles on these boots. Again, that's the thing about daily wear. You might not be beating on the boots, but you are absolutely wearing down the soles, wearing on the structure. And you can see here, just the way that I walk, I probably tend to walk on the outside a little bit more certainly than on the inside of my feet. So at that point, I wear down the outside of the boots. They get completely rounded out, and you can look at it in profile. That is hilarious. You can see how much I wore that down. Let's look at this one. That's kind of funny. Exactly the same. This one doesn't look quite as wonky, but it is completely worn down. So you can see like my tendency and how I walk, and that is absolutely translating to the boots. Look at this. It is so worn down on this side. That is hilarious. So, I mean, again, is that the boots' fault? I would say absolutely not. That's going to come with the territory. The only thing would be if this was set up to be able to resole them. They are certainly not with this type of construction, at least not straightforward. I have resoled boots like this in the past. It's not the most effective. Quite frankly, you're better off just replacing the boots. Or like I'm going to do, turn them into painting boots. So all in all, the Lowa Zephyr MK2 Gore-Tex boots, absolutely amazing. 500 plus days of continuous service. And so if you're looking for high quality rugged boots that just do the job and do them well, I would say Lowa boots are fantastic. But specifically, these Zephyr MK2, amazing. I love the Zephyrs. I love these boots. Everything about them has been amazing. So, to the people at Lowa, thank you for providing these for review. I hope I did them justice. Thank you guys for following along. If you like all of this, look in the description box below where you can find your own Lowa products. And so with that, take care, guys. I'll see you soon.